I guess to take that all back and go, the number one thing of advice is you just got to start. You got to do it. You got to start filming or taking pictures or whatever it is you're doing. You just got to dive into it. You can't expect yourself to, gather all this information and then start. You're 100% going to learn the best from yourself and from your mistakes. So absolutely just dive into it head first and go for it.
This is the CreativeKrunch podcast.
Yesterday's left turn might be tomorrow's right turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. That's a good idea. Okay. On go is the first clap. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wait. I got a better way to do this. We know, okay, you know the song We Will Rock You. Ready?
Yeah.
We will.
Oh.
Oh, shoot, that's actually a better way. Yeah, ready?
Okay. Go again. Clap, though.
Wait.
We
will. We will rock you.
Okay, let's just hope that it synchronizes and we don't have to do any more singing.
Okay.
All right, so let's get into it. All right, so welcome everybody.
So you say welcome. So when we say the sentence, you start with one word, I follow.
Welcome
to. It's gotta be smooth though. Ready?
Welcome
to
the
CreativeKrunch
podcast today.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right. No, seriously. Welcome everybody to the CreativeKrunch podcast. This is technically not our first episode, but we're going to call it our first episode because our first episode was great.
Awesome.
I mean, it was okay. It was awesome, I guess. But
don't listen to it if we released it.
I think it's on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music already, but no one knows who we are, so I think we're all right for now.
It has like 3 listens.
I think it was us
as of today is the 18th.
As of the 18th, our first episode has 3 listens. But anyway, this will officially be our first one because the one we did this past weekend just didn't really have any structure. We were kind of all over the place and we were laughing and giggling and just not really staying on task really at all. But so yes, again, welcome to the CreativeKrunch podcast, episode 1 officially. Ben, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself to the people, how many, because we're probably gonna have so many listeners that don't know who we are.
All right. So my name's Ben and I am the founder of Graphic Formation Films. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a wife. My wife's name is Lauren. And she is a beautiful on the inside and on the outside. And I love her to her core. And yeah, she's cool. Okay. All right, go ahead. Okay.
All right. I'm Reed Shepard. I run and own Reed Shepard Films, which is primarily a wedding videography business, just like Graphic Formation, which Ben was talking about. I live in West Des Moines with my beautiful, wonderful girlfriend and my 2 dogs, Wrigley and Milo. And my girlfriend's name is Cassidy.
Bro, I didn't know we were doing pets. All right, let me start with.
No, you can't bring them in.
Sorry. Okay, so this is Opal.
Okay, hi, Opal.
Oh, shoot, Opal. Okay, so I have 3 cats. Yep, Opal, Oscar, Olive. All right, so now we can continue.
All right. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna kind of take a different approach on this podcast from our latest one to help us figure out the flow and kind of get into a rhythm. We're going to do something simple and we're going to answer some questions that we got from some of our followers, some of our friends.
Now, I'd like to note we can't answer every question. We got a lot of questions.
Yeah, we won't be able to answer all of them. We're going to get through as many as we can and just kind of see how it goes. And, we'll get this out to you so you'll know if your question was answered. So let's start with a question from Will Sison. Hey, Will. His first question is tacos or taco pizza? And what I say to that is, why would he leave out salad tacos?
Oh, shoot.
And I'm going to leave it to Ben to tell you a little story that happened this weekend about salad tacos.
So if you haven't heard episode 1, shoot. If you haven't heard episode 1, it's good. All right, so salad tacos. So we came over to record our first podcast that we ended up not liking. And I was like, we need to get some food before we do this because we were both hangry. And we did it through DoorDash. And I went to DoorDash and I ordered some tacos from Taco Bell, Doritos Locos Tacos, and I thought it was super simple. I was like, oh, yeah, let me just get one taco, and then I'll order 8 of them so that we each have 4 tacos. And when they got there, they were filled with sour cream, lettuce, and cheese. And I figured out that I did not add meat on the tacos when I ordered them.
Well, you thought there was an option on DoorDash that said seasoned beef. And you're like, no, I don't want seasoned beef or something like that.
I just want regular beef.
But it turns out that the only option you can have is seasoned beef, and if you click no seasoned beef, you get no beef at all.
So we had 3 options instead of 2: tacos, salad, tacos, taco pizza, and salad tacos.
Yeah, and I will add that salad tacos were not good.
Yeah.
We both had no idea, and we both took a bite. I was like, dang, the sour cream is really overpowering the meat. And then Ben took a bite. He's like, wait, I don't think there's any meat on here. And
then to try to save myself, I'm like, come on, just eat them. They're not that bad.
They were bad. They weren't good. I actually had to order some more food because I wasn't going to have my dinner be salad tacos.
But we decided to come back to them later, and the tacos were like soggy, so we couldn't eat them.
Yeah. But Taco Bell, if you're listening and you want to sponsor us, we will talk the heck out of salad tacos and we'll get you some sales. So,
or consider removing that option from the optional things to eat.
Either way, if you want to sponsor us, we'll talk about removing that option or promoting it. Just give us an email at info@creativekrunch.com.
Sponsoring a food that we don't like.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on to.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like an ad. All right, are you looking for something doesn't have any protein and?
Do you want a salad but in a taco?
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, taco salad, solid, good food because it has meat. Taco pizza, I'm also a fan of taco pizza, but we had to tell that story about salad tacos. It's just something that can't be not.
Yeah, so to answer the question, I would probably do taco pizza, to be honest. It seems like super simple. Like, tacos are good. But like if I'm ordering food to go, like if I'm ordering something to be delivered, I feel like I don't know, there's something about taco pizza that's just way more like appetizing, I guess.
And literally this last week on Saturday night you ordered tacos for your dinner. I don't know if it was like you trying to get redemption on the tacos from Taco Bell or what,
But I also was filtering the order by fastest order, and Taco Bell had the option for the fast. It was like 20 minutes you get your food.
I mean, it did get there pretty quickly, so shout out to your...
Well, they also saved time by not putting any meat on there, so...
Yeah. Shout out to your coworker at DoorDash for getting it here pretty fast, so...
For anybody looking for a part-time gig, DoorDash.
Yeah,
DoorDash is where it's at.
I'm actually signed up for DoorDash, too. I just haven't done it yet.
It's so easy.
Yeah,
People,
Yeah.
if you are on DoorDash, tip your drivers, bro.
And
I'm sorry I'm
Ben-
yelling.
Here comes Ben's rant about not getting tipped. Anyway, let's move on because I feel like we could talk about DoorDash and salad tacos.
Yeah, and
for
we
too
already
long.
lost all of our listeners. So
But Will, I would pick tacos as mine over taco pizza.
taco pizza for me.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Kind of more business related to graphic formation and Reed Shepherd Films question. Katie Carpenter asked, what is the craziest story? What is your craziest story from filming weddings? And Ben, I'm going to let you.
Oh my gosh, I had no prep on this.
I don't care. You just got to go into it.
Craziest story. I mean, so I've only been filming weddings for 2.5 years. So I feel like I still have another. I mean, like, I feel like I have good stories coming in the future, as I'm assuming I'll be doing this for a while.
I actually heard you were quitting this year and you're not doing any 2021 weddings.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to make sure I don't refer them to you. Yeah.
So I just want to make sure your couples know that you're hanging up your camera gear.
Yeah, but let me do. Yep. No, so I don't know about crazy. Like, what does crazy even mean?
Just, I mean, take it however you want it. Like your one wedding where it was like storming super crazy. I mean, that would be a good example. It was like you were literally filming a wedding during like a hurricane.
So, I mean, I already told one story on another podcast, so I'll let other people go to listen to that story there. I'm not going to repeat that story. But on one of my last weddings from this last year, we got done with the ceremony, and they did like a party bus. They were going to do a party bus. And this is actually the wedding that Ryan Parsons helped me with. And he...
Shout out RP Media.
RP Media, Des Moines. DSM RP Media. It's RP Media Des Moines.
It's like rpmediadsm.com. Go look them up.
Go check them out.
After you look us up first, of course. But
yeah, after the ceremony, you know how like everyone gets done with the ceremony, they exit the ceremony, and then the wedding party usually goes right to the bus.
yeah.
Well, I'm like packing up all the equipment, and I see the wedding party still like piled at the door, still waiting to go outside to the bus. And after I get everything packed up, I come and figure out that like the door to the bus won't open, so they can't get on the bus. And because of like liability reasons, they just couldn't go on the party bus because they couldn't get the door open. They could have climbed through, like everyone could have gone through the front door of the bus and kind of crawled over the seat into the back of it and gone on it. Mm-hmm. But because there wasn't like an emergency exit, they couldn't ride on the party bus. And so there just was no party bus. So they went from the ceremony and then they just kind of hung out in like a separate room for an hour and a half or something until the reception started.
Shoot. I mean, I hope
Which
they got
sucks.
I hope they got a full refund.
Yeah, I hope so too. But yeah, I felt bad. And so people listening, brides listening, just make sure little things like that can go wrong. And just be prepared to just go with the flow. I think that's super cool about the couple that happened to. They were just like, I mean, it's whatever. It sucks, but it's whatever. So
yeah, like Ben mentioned, there is, if your wedding goes absolutely perfectly, like I don't know how you pull that off, because there is always something little or, you know, God forbid, something big that could go wrong. But yeah, weddings are very much, you just got to go with the flow. You got to trust the process, trust your vendors, trust, you know, your bridal party or whatever, that everyone's going to make it work and it's going to turn out great. Like you're there to get married. You're not there to go in a party bus, even though that's a fun part of weddings. But so Katie, my answer to that question, yeah, it's a tough one. There's like, it's hard to interpret what crazy is, but I'm going to talk about Sophie and Brandon's wedding. Specifically during the toasts. So Ben was actually helping me at this wedding, and I had one. So everyone was eating dinner, so I went off to go fly the drone, and I flew it for a little bit, and I came back. I was like, "All right, Ben, let's get set up for the toasts. They're about to happen." And Ben's like, "Okay, yeah, we got this." So 5 minutes go by. Ben hasn't done anything, and neither have I, but I was starting to. He's like, "Hey, Reed, I'm going to go fly the drone real quick." I was like, "What? No, I already did it." And as he's walking away, like the toast just start. We have nothing set up, no tripods, no cameras, nothing, and they just start. The audio is not ready, absolutely zero, and Ben is off. He's too far. He can't hear me yelling for help. So I am scurrying, running back and forth, getting tripods and cameras set up as the best man is giving his toast. And then you can actually see it in one of the drone clips that Ben got. It's like me sprinting with a tripod to go set it down.
Note, he used my drone shot in the video.
Yeah. I will know that Ben's drone shot was better than what I had gotten. And actually in the video, so Sophie and Brandon, if you're watching this, sorry if this ruins it for you, you can actually see me running to put the tripod down in your highlight film. But then Ben, 10 minutes later, after I get everything set up, just comes strolling back.
And I like give him a nod because I'm landing the drone and I hear clapping and I'm just like, oh no. I walk in like, hey, you good? You got it?
Yeah, he just comes strolling.
He's like staring at me from across the room. He's like, no, and he's just shaking his head back and forth.
Yeah, and it was a backyard wedding, so he just strolls back to the backyard like nothing happened, and he's like, oh wow, the toasts have been going for like 15 minutes.
Now, hold on. I would like to pause for a second and make note about this exact thing that's happened. So everyone that's getting married, like your DJ hands you the mic. That's awesome. Like that means, all right, toasts are about to happen. Mm-hmm. But that's only part one. Toast is like a 2-part thing. I mean, we need to make sure our cameras are rolling and the audio is recording. So like, I mean, once your DJ hands you your mic, that doesn't mean go. Mm-hmm. That means like, all right, we got the mic now. Let's see. Do I see the cameras going? So always look at your videographer and wait till they give you the thumbs up because that's what's I mean, as long as you're wanting toast, if you don't care if they're getting recorded or not, then go ahead.
Yeah, and I think Ben and myself are pretty good at communicating with the DJ and the couple, like, hey, make sure to let me know like before you start toast, so we make sure that we have everything set up that we need. I know Ben does, and I do, and a few other people like to talk to the DJ too, like, hey, can you give us like a 10-minute heads up before you're gonna go drop the mic off over there? But yeah, there plenty of videographers have the horror stories of the toast starting while like the vendors are still eating. And it's pretty easy to prevent that. So just make sure your communication is solid with your DJ, your videographer, your photographer too. And yeah, but that's just a funny story. And I was pretty upset about it because I was like, Ben, let's get set up. And then he just leaves to go fly the drone, which I had already done. But it still turned out. We got some of the toast recorded, almost all of them. And yeah, I mean, it was usable and the video turned out great. So I guess thank you, Ben, for helping, but not thank you for screwing that up.
I'd like to note that I didn't get paid for that, so yeah.
Do you really want to get into that about our exchange of services and how many weddings I've helped you with and how many you've helped me with? Because I don't think you want to go down that road.
Nah, we can move on to the next question.
Okay, you got it.
I think you got all the questions. I already feel like I don't have any questions.
Well, didn't you get one? Like, what the heck is CreativeKrunch?
Yeah, I think I got something I can't remember.
I mean, we don't have to say who asked the questions either. That was just what came off the top of my head.
Yeah, so who is CreativeKrunch? Well, it's me mainly.
No. Who? Yeah, so we got a question. What the heck, or who the heck, or whatever. What the heck is CreativeKrunch? And yeah, that's pretty important for us to talk about because you probably got a Facebook invitation from both of us to come like our page. But so just a brief example or a brief explanation, Ben can go more in depth, is so Ben and I wanted to kind of start a business together, and we want it to be focused around corporate and like commercial work. So doing videos for local small businesses, for their social media, for their websites, whatever. We want to do podcasts, which is what we're doing right now. And then another goal of ours is to do some education. I think in the future, we want to start a course where, I mean, to start off, it would definitely be in the wedding industry for beginning filmmakers to learn how we do things and mistakes we've made and how we overcame them. But we'd like to grow that even further in the future as well.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to how it all like started. I mean, you and I met a year ago.
Yeah.
And this is all in episode 1, honestly.
Yeah, but this is already flowing so much better.
But yeah, so we met a year ago and then we started hanging out. and then we got a wedding, Maddie and Blake's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
We filmed that, and then we started saying that we wanted to, I don't even remember. When did we initiate this?
So yeah, we met at Matt and Marine's wedding, which Ben was filming. I was the best man in. We met at the rehearsal dinner and we just talked about video and weddings and all that. Because I had filmed like maybe 6 or 7 weddings by that time. Ben was probably pushing 60, 70. But so we talked then, and then for those of you that know what Dance Marathon is, I've been filming that the last couple of years, like their big event, and Ben was super curious in that, and he reached out to ask if he could help out, and he did. And that's when we started to learn like how we work together and how we bounce our creativity off of each other. And the video turned out great for a great cause, and I think that kind of sparked like we should definitely do some more work together, because one, that was super fun. Like we have pretty similar personalities, pretty goofy, but we're both, we can make great content together. So I think it started from there. And like Ben said, with the wedding that we shot together, Maddie and Blake, I think it just kind of turned, I think originally it started out with coursework, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't really think either of us really know where it's headed. I think we just kind of like, we want to push ourselves, and we also want to like help the community. And we think having like a creative way to like keep pushing ourselves is super helpful, especially like when we're at weddings and we like see like someone got when we're shooting weddings together, we'll see someone got like a cooler shot and we're just like, shoot, okay, now I need to get like a better shot. So we just keep like pushing ourselves and like learning new techniques and asking for feedback, stuff like, and just kind of like sharing that knowledge that we gain. And also, and for the corporate stuff that we want to do. And like weddings are fun, but honestly, I feel like as wedding videographers, we're still increasing the value. So like we don't feel like, I personally still feel like we do a ton of work as a wedding videographer. We have a ton of roles like audio engineer, not audio engineer. That's not what we're, but like we have to deal with audio, multiple cameras, editing, and the value of wedding videographers in Iowa is still really low. We're still trying to like push that. And so like corporate work will kind of allow us to help make like a second source of income while we're also doing weddings. Yeah.
And like Ben mentioned before too, we both like to challenge our shelves. We like to challenge each other. Like Ben said, whether that's whoever gets the cooler shots at the wedding or whatever. So we wanted to kind of jump into that market that we weren't very familiar with. And actually this past weekend, we just filmed technically our second corporate work together as CreativeKrunch, but this was like really our first, like, I'd say decent to high budget and like a bunch of equipment and storyboarding and all that kind of stuff for a gym in Muscatine, Iowa, called Impact Athletic Performance. So if you're in the area, you should definitely check it out because it's really cool. And I definitely wish we had something like that.
Yeah, it's not your typical. It's not your typical gym. It's more about body movement and like body flow, and it's not so much like cardio and strength training. It's about like teaching you how to like utilize your body to its like full potential, and as you like continue to grow and age.
Yeah, and I know we're gonna move on here soon to other questions, but how, Ben, as like that being our second commercial corporate work together, how do you think that went?
I think it went pretty good. It's definitely felt like we had to do. I don't know. I felt like we had to do a lot more. Like wedding videos are very quick, and it's almost like you're filming something live, but then you're getting to edit it later.
Mm-hmm. For a wedding, you really don't know what to
You're trying
expect.
to capture a story when you show up, you're not like, okay, we're gonna make. I mean, we know what shots we got to get, but in reality, I mean, we're showing up to these weddings being like anything could happen. We need to try to make sure we capture it. Whereas these corporate shoot, we kind of went there knowing like we have a shot list. We are gonna get these shots. Once we get these shots, then we're pretty much good to go. And we kind of knew what the video was gonna look like going there.
Yeah,
so that's the main difference. A lot more pre-work than with weddings.
Yeah, definitely with corporate work, which we're both still very new at. It's something where it's so much easier if you show up to the shoot already knowing exactly what you need to get. And like to touch on what Ben was saying, when you go to a wedding, I mean, we do a little bit of prep work, obviously, with our equipment, getting to know our couples and everything. But honestly, we could show up on the day of a wedding and still make a very good film. For corporate work, if you showed up with like no proper planning or communication or anything like that, you'd be screwed. Like you would have no idea what you were going to make. But yeah, I just kind of went on a tangent there. Next question.
Yeah. How about what do you wish you had known 10 years ago?
Well, I was 14. So I've always kind of had the passion for like video or just creating something, whether that be Legos or stealing my mom's camera, taking photos around the house, or making like lip sync videos and posting them on YouTube, or skate videos. But I wish I knew that where I was really going to take it. I wish that I could have started at that age, at 14, like really starting to pursue and learn and invest in myself as a 14-year-old as much as I could, but just develop as much knowledge of the industry that we're in now, so I'd feel even better like where I'm at now, because I am by no means an expert, but I think if you had those 10 years of knowledge coming up to this point, you'd be pretty well off. I don't know if I answered that question at all. Oh shoot! This keeps sticking.
I actually have. Okay, so that was a good answer. I have an additional question that's more specific.
Okay.
What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue? What advice would you want to give someone to pursue a career similar to yours?
So this would be like someone just starting out?
Yeah, like I would say someone wanting to pursue a career in wedding videography.
Yeah, my advice would be absolutely 100% find a community, find a mentor, ask questions, and learn as much as you possibly can. I know people are hard on YouTube University or whatever, but there is a lot of good stuff that you can learn on there. But I guess to take that all back and go, the number one thing of advice is you just got to start. You got to do it. You got to start filming or taking pictures or whatever it is you're doing. You just got to dive into it. You can't expect yourself to, gather all this information and then start. you're 100% going to learn the best from yourself and from your mistakes. So absolutely just dive into it head first and go for it. Because you're always going to be able to come up with excuses to why to not do something, but just push yourself to just dive right in. What would your answer be for that?
I feel like there's a lot of stuff I could say. But personally, I felt like when I started, I felt like I needed like every piece of gear that there was. But in reality, like now, I feel like I could go to a wedding now with one camera, one lens, not even any audio, and I feel like I could still make like a good wedding video. It may not be as like dynamic as like I usually would want. Like it may not have as many angles and all that stuff, but I feel like having one camera, it would leave me like I wouldn't have to worry at all about any other equipment, and I could always be walking around with the couple, not worrying about any equipment and just capturing moments. But I think, going to these weddings with these mindset that like you're not trying to create you're trying to create a movie, but more of a mindset where you're trying to preserve memories for this couple.
I don't know, Ben, you nail that right on the head every time, because you didn't have a wedding videographer at your wedding, and you talk very passionately about preserving memories, and knowing you're very good at preserving your own memories with photos or whatever it may be. But yeah, that's a really good point to look at it. Like you're capturing their memories that they're going to watch forever. They're going to show their kids, their grandkids. But yeah.
Yeah, because in 10 years, even if the shot's a little shaky, or it's like a vertical video on someone's phone, they're still gonna love watching that. The benefit of having somebody that's really good at making everything look clean is it's a little more future proof. It'll be easier to watch and may allow you to tell a little better story than with one camera.
Yeah. So to kind of jump off of that, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I don't know if you saw that YouTube video. I think Aaron sent it to us about like every YouTuber in 2020 where like he set up all of this like super expensive gear, and then he sat down in the frame and he's like, "Hey, welcome to my channel. This is why gear doesn't matter." I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, that was funny. It was like a minute.
Yeah. But to kind of play off that, like,
yeah, absolutely.
When you start, you use what you have, use your phone. If that is all you have, like you're going to learn so much from that. So gear in a sense doesn't matter for when you're like starting out, but there will be times when you get to a certain point in your career or in your knowledge that to continue to grow, you're going to have to upgrade eventually, you know? So like Ben said, of course you can make a really good video with one camera and one lens on a wedding day. And I absolutely 100% believe that. Like Ben's talent is above many others.
Oh, thanks.
Now we're cheesy. Let me regather
smile. I'm going to take a photo for my photo of the day. Okay.
Okay, now where was I? So yeah, like of course Ben could go and film a wedding with one camera and one lens and it'd be great. But he got to a point too where he knew that to grow and to get better and to produce even better films than what he could do with one camera, he started investing in more and more lenses and audio and all of this stuff. So it's kind of a weird conversation where gear doesn't really matter, but
at the same time, it does a little bit.
To grow and to learn and to become better, it does at the same time. Oh no, my camera died. Hold on.
All right, for all those viewers, we got. So the listeners out there, this is a YouTube video Like you can go and watch this. We're videographers, so we wanted to be able to make this not only an audio podcast, but also a video podcast. And as you can see, Reed did not prep himself, so his camera either died.
Is it not on?
So like for viewers out there, if you want to see what my setup looks like, let me show you. Let me see if I can show you. So I actually have my camera set up behind my computer. And it's on a monopod right above, like it's almost right above where my camera's monitor would go. But we wanted it to look nice. It's nice because it's got a nice depth of field. Background's blurry, and now he's back on. Here he comes.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Just talking about how this is a video. This is not only an audio podcast, but this is also a video podcast. And so we went through the hassle of like setting up the camera and like lighting our background and stuff like that.
Yeah, and to be fair, I set up my camera with full battery, but Ben took quite a while to get ready. So,
shoot, yeah, I'm looking at my camera now and it just hit half battery. We could honestly, I know Aaron's got one of these. I think that's like a cable to plug into your camera, so it doesn't even need a battery. It's like a battery cable.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I think we'll probably be able to wrap it up here in the next 15, 20 minutes anyway. So I think we should be all right. But I don't remember what we were talking about before it died.
You were talking about camera gear and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we can move on. Didn't your mother-in-law ask a good question?
Yeah. How do you continue to grow your creativity?
Yeah, it's a really good question.
That's a deep question. Shout out to Jade, the woman, Lauren, my wife, Lauren, it's her mom. She's the kindest, sweetest person. And she's a deep thinker. She always knows what to say at like the perfect times, and she's always hitting me with these deep questions. And yeah, her question was, how do you continue to grow your creativity? She's also another creative person. So yeah, for me, I feel like whenever I have an idea, rather than just like sitting there and not doing anything, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and give it a shot. So whether that's like me being like, I need to go and, like I have this idea to go do, I want to do a panorama drone photo. Then I'll go and do it just so I can do it and kind of expand that creativity. I do a lot of research on education. I love learning new things. So whether that's like going to YouTube and just searching for the answer, it surprises me the number of people that like ask a question and for me, I'm like, did you like look on Google or like did you find it on YouTube? Like Google is like a huge resource.
Oh, my dog's barking.
I don't know how to help with that.
Oh,
there are other things
shoot.
you can try.
No.
I wish I understood. You could try again.
Yeah. Hey, Google, do you have anything you'd like to say?
What do you mean?
Hey, Google, tell me a joke. Hey, Google, tell me a joke. It's freaking out right now.
Just leave it.
Okay.
But at the same time, Ben, that should kind of be pretty cool for you too, though. That
What's the difference between a hippo and a zipper? One is really heavy, and the other is a little lighter.
Okay. Good. I don't know if you heard that.
Good.
Okay, good. Continue. It was a little delayed.
Yeah, train of thought is gone. So yeah, I mean, of course, use Google, use YouTube, but like for you, I mean, I ask you questions because I know that you're you're an expert in like this industry too.
I'd use that term lightly. I don't know.
Okay, expert. Loosely. You are one of the best in Iowa, if not the best, and I will say that confidently.
I don't know. There's a lot of talented videographers out there.
There is. Don't get me wrong. There's so many great talent here, but I do believe that your work stands above everyone. And I'll say that confidently. Like, no hard feelings against anyone else. Like, I think there are plenty of wedding videographers, in Iowa, but there's something that you do that just your films are solid each time.
Okay, so what do you think the cap market is? I mean, now we're kind of going into pricing. What do you feel like is a what's the word I'm using?
Appropriate.
Appropriate. I guess that's not that hard of a word. What do you think a wedding videographer should be paid? Someone who's got all the proper equipment, like 5 cameras. Mm-hmm. What do you feel like is a proper pay for something like that?
That is such a tricky, not really a tricky question, but it's a touchy question, especially in Iowa, because like you said before, I don't know, there's just like, there is a market for it, but not like a valued market, if that makes sense. I don't know. I might cut that out.
He's going to leave it in.
Yeah, probably. I'm too lazy to cut it out. If you're a videographer and you've got, 3+ cameras, you've got lenses, your drone, you got audio equipment, and you have the skill, you're a storyteller and you put together a solid film, I would say the value of that is at least $5,000. And what comes with that is experience, like how many weddings that you've filmed and stuff. So yeah, I mean, since the market is not there yet in Iowa, I don't think we see too many people at that price. I know, Ben, you're pushing that, but yeah, sometimes I feel like we struggle to express the value of a videographer, especially on a wedding day. Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like there's some photographers in Iowa that are able to charge $6,000-$7,000 for photography. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to bash photographers at all. But the work that's involved with video I feel like there's more work involved with video, at least to make something, good on the higher end. Like, I mean, yeah, I can understand like when someone shows up with like 2 cameras and maybe 2 monopods and maybe like 1 audio piece of equipment, and then they throw together like a 3-minute highlight.
And we cannot stress enough that your photographer is absolutely worth their price.
Yeah.
You are going to have those images forever. I know, like Ben has mentioned to me before, like you can't hang a video on your wall. So 1,000% photographers are worth their price. I mean, for the most part, if you're working with a good one. But I think what Ben is also trying to say is like, so mostly on a wedding day, you'll see a photographer come in with a backpack. And then for like a higher priced videographer, you're going to see him come in with a bag, a Pelican case full of their lenses, or
multiple tripods,
audio stuff. Like there's just a lot that goes into making a solid wedding video. Like Ben said before, you can go with a camera and a lens and make something great, but especially when you get up into that probably $3,000 to $5,000 range, at least in Iowa, you can expect them to come with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, photographers, we love you. And
I think everyone values video differently. Some people don't care so much to look back at wedding videos or even videos like of themselves, like when they were kids. The way I like to think about it is like, for me, I have my parents. So my parents are divorced, but it's cool to look back and like see where like I came from. So like the other day, I came across my parents' cake cutting. Now, believe it or not, like I don't really think cake cutting is that important, but I thought it was so funny watching the way my dad and mom interacted, like seeing like, okay, so that's kind of where my background comes from. But yeah, so I think when people are looking at video, they also need to consider like it's something that not only you are gonna like, but also like your kids and grandkids may want to watch that kind of stuff. But yeah.
I think we should do like 2 more questions and then kind of wrap it up. We're pushing 50 minutes already. But yeah, I literally just want to stress that so much that we are not bashing on photographers at all. They do
we
so
love
much
photographers.
work. They go above and beyond. They set the schedule for the day. You know, they do all the family photos. They do all of the communication. A lot of the time we'll show up to a wedding and like we'll follow the photographer's lead. Like, of course, we'll jump in and get our poses and what we need. But
Photographers are gonna hate me now. They probably think I'm bashing on them.
No, I don't know. I think
I
we were
admire
very
photographers,
clear.
and I think photographers they have such a great like they're so good at composing stuff like in ways that I wouldn't even consider.
I suck at photography. I just don't. I don't know. There's like a skill there that I just can't grasp.
Absolutely.
So literally,
again, we also want photographers to admire us at the same time. We don't want to feel belittled when we show up at weddings.
Yeah. So especially like the traditional photographers, like the people that have been in it for a long time and haven't really worked with videographers before. Like I know I've been there at a wedding where the photographers like basically looked at me as like, oh, like the Uncle Bob that carries the camcorder around during the reception. But like when we're really up in the business all day, like, yeah. Awkward silence.
Yeah.
But yeah, our favorite photographers, you know who you are. We love you all so much, and we appreciate
you know
your
what's
skill.
so hard about us? Like we get to this point where we've worked with so many photographers. When people start asking, like on Facebook, they're like, "Who do you recommend for photography?" And I'm like afraid to like post one person because I'm afraid all the other people I like are gonna be offended that I didn't recommend them.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, I can't recommend 10 photographers at once.
Yeah, especially because there are so many good ones in Iowa too, like so many, and I mean, people should just start booking like 5 photographers a day. Just kidding, don't do that. Only hire one. Photographers are just as important as us, easily.
So I feel like we could talk weddings in every podcast. So let's save some wedding stuff.
Okay. I've got a good question to kind of get us off of weddings and more on like the entrepreneurship side.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Okay. So this is another good one from Will. It's kind of long, so bear with me. So running a business is very hard compared to working for someone else. It's a lot more work, time, stress, and you have to wear a lot of hats. When you're working for someone else, your job title starts at a specific time and ends at a specific time. However, when you own a business, you're working nonstop, and sometimes it can put a toll on your mind and body. Now that you guys have your own businesses, do you ever think about or miss working for someone else, or at least think about it for a split second? So basically, do you miss working for someone else rather than you?
To be honest, I mean, no, because like, I feel like it would be hard for me to go and get another job. So like I would be like just having the freedom to kind of choose what you do when you do it. I feel like outweighs having somebody like outweighs that clock in, clock out time. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I don't think I'll ever have another job where I have a boss that's not myself. What I do miss about it a little bit is like having coworkers. And
absolutely.
And like having a relationship, like having friends there. Like what we do, I mean, we talk quite often, but what we really do is we sit in our space, like our home office or whatever, by ourselves with headphones on, just editing. And though that's great and that's fun and like it like brings us back to the day, like brings us back to weddings or whatever. But I definitely miss having coworkers to like just go chat with for like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. Especially when you take a break. But
human interaction is you do forget about that human interaction.
Yeah, especially now too with, COVID and all that crazy stuff going on. But sometimes I feel like not in like a deep depressing way, but sometimes like during the day I'm like, dang, I feel kind of lonely.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, not talking about the human interaction part, but I think one thing so like my couples, if you guys are watching this right now, you're probably sitting there like, why is he recording this podcast right now when he could be editing my video? But right now, what you could consider us doing is we're furthering our business, which actually comes out to I learned in another podcast that I was interviewed on that at least in the wedding industry, the business takes up 70% of what you do, and then the actual like shooting and editing takes up 30%, which is very accurate, I think. Like I feel like I spend more time responding to messages and upkeeping my social media to make sure I can get more business than editing.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, another huge thing, we're kind of back on weddings now.
Oh, shoot.
A huge thing like with editing too. So any of the couples watching, like, so, you're paying higher dollar for either one of us to film your wedding and edit it. So it is so important that we tell the story of you guys and not another cookie cutter wedding video that you could have got for like $1,000 or $2,000. It's very important for both of us to like bring your video to life, make it yours, capture your personality, make it authentic to you guys. And yeah, so that takes time. That takes a lot of time, and there's no way around that. That is always going to be a huge time consumer is editing.
Yeah. And the thing you have to remember is like, we know that like in the short term, like 6 months or whatever can feel like a long time, but like this is something you're gonna have for a lifetime. So in reality, 5 years down the road, I don't think you're gonna be like, oh, it took us so long to get our video. Like we don't want to rush through this video that is just gonna be thrown together for some that your grandkids are gonna watch. Like we want this to be a video that you're gonna cherish. We're back on weddings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Will's question was good and more so on the entrepreneurship side, but he was talking. Our business is weddings, so like that's what we know. That's what we talk about.
Yeah, I will say the hardest part about owning your own business is probably learning to force yourself to do work. Like I think the first couple months, it was so hard to continue, like to start to be productive. So now you have to kind of like wake yourself up and be like, okay, I got to get this done. You have to kind of learn the things that allow you to start to be productive. So for me, I found out that if I go work out, that's like one thing to check off my list that will kind of get me rolling down the list. If I work out, that feels like something productive I did. Even if it's something as small as like I made my bed, that's one thing that's made me productive.
Have you seen that video about, I don't know what it's called on YouTube, but it's basically talks like you want to change the world, make your bed every morning or something like that. And it talks exactly like that. If the first thing you do in the morning is you be productive, that's going to set the tone for the rest of your day. And obviously the more and more you do that, the more impact you can make in whatever your business or life is about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other thoughts on that, or should we go to another question, or should we just end it? Do you have any more questions?
What does the recording say?
Well, so I started recording a little bit before, and we're at like 55 minutes, I think.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know. I should have looked at the time. I don't know if I'm reading it.
I think we can roll this one. We got to save some stuff for more podcasts, right?
Yeah.
We should end it with that whole what inspired us.
Yeah, so something we want to do on this podcast. Oh, dude, we didn't even talk about like what we want to talk about on the podcast and stuff. Here, real quickly. So my mom, thank you, Mom, Lori Shepard. She asked, "What are the topics that you're going to be focusing on with your podcast?"
I think she. Oh yeah,
overall?
that's true. Yeah.
Overall. And I mean, we're obviously going to grow with it and kind of build our branding off of that. But as of right now, it's kind of focusing around creativity, inspiration, like workflows. We want to answer questions. We want to bring guests on. But yeah, to circle back to that creativity part, we want to know, like, when we bring a guest on, we want to bring on like a creative director or a marketing director or a restaurant owner, whatever, and talk about like how do they use creativity in their everyday life. But obviously we also want to bring on other wedding vendors because that's what we do.
Yeah. So artists, not necessarily doesn't have to be videographers, photographers. We can do like painters,
musicians,
anything that's creative.
which
I'd love to bring on Clive and just hear some of his insights into receptions and how we can make receptions better, stuff like that.
Clive is a DJ, by the way. But yeah, so just that's kind of what the podcast is going to be about for now, and it's going to grow into its own thing too. So, yeah, so like I mentioned, we want to end each episode with either something that inspired us, something that we learned recently, or maybe something that we want to like grow in or get better at. So Ben, why don't you go ahead and take that one first?
All right. I was thinking about this the other day, and this is not that like, it's not super inspirational, but I kind of was like thinking about it as more like a metaphor. But so, like light bulbs.
Oh boy.
Do you know how they, like, when I was younger, they just had standard light bulbs that had, like, how, like, inside the light bulbs, they had the two, like, metal things that came up, and that's, like, what made the light. It wasn't LED light bulbs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know like, the traditional light bulbs that you think of, like, 60-watt light bulbs.
Yep.
But, like, nowadays, I feel like every light bulb is LED light bulbs. And I feel like, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen an LED light bulb burn out. Anytime I see a burned out light bulb, I go to change it and I find out it's one of the like older style light bulbs. And that I think that innovation is like so cool. Being able to be, I mean, it's not that inspiring. To me, I thought it was inspiring to be like, dude, coming up with something like that is genius. First of all, it's like more energy efficient. And second of all, you probably save so much on buying light bulbs. I feel like I used to change light bulbs like all the time, and now I feel like I rarely ever change light. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, inspiration comes in so many different ways. So it's not like, oh, that's not inspiring at all. That's inspiring to you. It might not be to everyone, but no, I get exactly
Be
what
inspired by light bulbs.
I just think light bulbs are so inspiring. No, but that was good. That was a good answer. And now I am struggling to think of mine.
Shoot. Salad tacos?
Salad tacos are so inspiring to me.
I was just in that moment. I was trying to be creative. I was like, whoa. I was like in my head. I'm like, wait, no beef. What about that?
So I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but Soul, this guy.
Oh shoot, that's a
Funko
deep.
Pop. Why won't it focus? This is one of the best movies that Disney and Pixar have ever made. It is one of the most inspiring movies I've ever seen. But just one of the lessons that I've taken from it is just enjoy the little things in life and just don't be so serious about everything all the time. Like, just take a minute each day to like be thankful and just, I don't know. If you haven't seen Soul, absolutely go see it. It is so good. And I know Ben can probably
Yeah, it's very inspiring.
second that.
It's deep. It's honestly, it's not something you think like a kid would like. They made it, I mean, really like bright colors and stuff, but like watching it as an adult, I was like, holy cow. I mean, they're talking about like the transportation of souls from like the before life and afterlife.
Yeah, they're talking about life's purposes. And
It's so deep.
I felt like it was a movie literally made for me and like for adults. Like I just watched it and I was just so like, holy crap, this is amazing. But
Yeah, I remember watching the movie, like looking around, like people were like going to be looking at me like they're like, this is for you.
no, it is so, yeah, that will always be inspiring to me. I might just go watch it right now.
Yeah, because doesn't it talks about like doing what you love and
it's all about finding your purpose, enjoying the small things in life. Just go watch it. That I can't explain it. You just got to go see it. It's so good. So good. Dude, your room has gotten so dark since the beginning of this podcast.
I know. I think if I remove this, it'll bring it a little bit more light, maybe. Not really. I can brighten up my light, though.
I mean, we're basically done, so.
Yeah, this is the downside to having a room that has windows on every side of the room.
Yeah, I mean, you probably noticed if you're watching it on YouTube that I've been adjusting
I could just
my ISO.
punch in so it looks like decent
Yeah,
lighting.
I think if we go like that, I think we're pretty solid there.
Right, tight on the face. We're using zoom lenses.
Okay, anyway, I think this was. I think this was good.
I'm just gonna stand really far. I'm just gonna stand really far away, so it still looks like I'm still like.
Anyway, I feel that this podcast. Don't watch Ben. I feel like this podcast was way, 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 way better than our very first one. And
are we even gonna post the first one?
I mean, it's already up. I don't know if we should take it
Oh,
down.
I'm so sorry. So we'll just like share this one and hope people don't listen to the first one.
Yeah, exactly. This is the one that we're going to promote. I felt that this went very well. It was fun questions, good questions, deep questions. But yeah. So seriously, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the very first CreativeKrunch podcast. And
episode 1, take 2.
episode 1, take 2. But seriously, thank you guys. If you listen, if we have any viewers or listeners, who knows if we will or not. But yes, you guys are awesome, and we're going to continue to do this. I don't know kind of what we're shooting for as like weekly or every other week or whatever, but yeah. And if anyone out there wants to come on to the show and chat with us, reach out to one of us. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Oh,
I'd like to leave some homework for the listeners. And this is the first answer that we'll answer on episode. What are we gonna call it? Episode
2? Question mark.
Episode 2. Yeah. Episode 2? Question mark. And we're gonna answer this question next time. So, and I'm curious what our viewers will think. We'll put this question somewhere. If you had a choice between 2 superpowers, being invisible or flying, which would you choose?
That's a deep one.
All right, we will talk about that next time.
All right, you all got your homework. We'll see you later.
And we're out of here.
Cut.
This is the CreativeKrunch podcast.
Yesterday's left turn might be tomorrow's right turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. That's a good idea.